up, Spurs fans? It's gonna be a tough one today because this big, North London Derby was a game we were all looking forward to, I should say. And obviously the result was not what we wanted, but I think this episode will still be a good one. With how disappointing right now we're sitting in the Premier League. I think we're sitting at 7th.
Yeah, I think so.
7th?
I think so, yeah.
7th with the game in hand because Liverpool's in front of us. You know what? There's still some hope. And as much as it's the North London Derby, we haven't not lost a North London Derby in the last 6 meetings, I think.
That's actually crazy.
But, hey, you know what? We're still going to bring the energy today, baby, because I think we have a lot to talk about for the future games, and it's what we can kind of evaluate from this game. And I don't know. I mean, there's a couple players that I want to talk about, Clay, that I think we should hit on in their performances. But honestly, like an overall performance, I think is something we should talk about too. Because for the previous games we've had, at least in the last couple of weeks, we've been pretty solid and scoring a lot of goals. And then we go to the Emirates and we play like absolute poo-poo. So
I think more so than talking about the performance of individual players, I think there's some like kind of big topics that we need to talk about, such as a couple Jose tactic things and some things I've seen that Spurs fans are kind of talking about and arguing about on Twitter and on social media. So, it's really disappointing. Obviously, the result. We have been in good form. We've been playing good football, and we come into this game and we look like we started off timid. We started off scared, and it's the classic. It looked like the classic Mourinho style, where we sit back, and our pressing line was like at the top of the center circle, you know what I mean? In their half. And it's like, that is such a low press, defense. And it just is inviting them to take their space and kind of like break us down, which they did a very good job of. And, at the end of the first half, they had 10 shots. We had 1. I mean, that's pretty bad. Also, by the way, we're in 8th right now because Liverpool won today.
Okay, we're in 8th. Okay. We still have a game in hand, so we win. I know we're sitting at 48 points if we win the next game. But we've talked about like with the table, and I don't want to focus a lot with our position on the table because I don't think we'll make top 4, unfortunately. But as each game is important because we still have 10 games remaining, so there's still 30 points up to grab, which is still a lot. You wonder, I guess, after watching the game, you wonder like, well, what causes our players to be like to have that personality on the pitch, because you can read their body language, you can read, how they're feeling. And, I don't know how you would answer that. I mean, if you have something to say, go for it.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting question, right? Like, why do our players look like they're not playing for the team? Why do they look sluggish? It's a question. And I was thinking of this while I watched, Harry Kane was absent the entire game. You agree?
Retweet. Absolutely.
Besides obviously the really good free kick at the end, very unfortunate that didn't go in.
For someone like him, as much as he has done for the club, like if he wants to be the next level, he can't be, I'll do this at the 89th minute, but not do anything the whole game.
Well, that's what my point is. I'm going back to your question in last week's episode when you asked, do you think Harry Kane playing all these games is going to make him tired? And I think that's exactly what happened. He looked tired, tired legs playing a midweek game, pretty much all of a midweek game, all of the weekend game, week in, week out. And you start to see the hints of injury. And Sonny had an injury, a non-contact injury. It's not like he got hit or something. That's the type of injury that happens because of too many minutes played, And Sonny's been one of those players where he's played consistently 2 times a week. And it's crazy. Our bodies just aren't made for that type of intensity. And to your point that you made last week, Harry Kane, he looked tired and dreary. And a lot of players did. I mean, Højbjerg looks tired. I thought that was Højbjerg's worst performance all year.
And that's what it comes down to. That's when a game like that, it's hard to not start Kane, a game like that.
Well, obviously you're going to start him, but like it comes
yeah, I get that. But like, what about like, there's many times though, like top Premier League clubs in a Premier League, it's hard because it was Arsenal, but in a Premier League match, they say it's a regular Premier League match, what about benching Kane and then maybe some on the 60th minute. But in a scenario like this, I get it's a North London derby. You want to, put your strongest force onto the pitch. But you almost wonder, okay, that backup striker is what we need. And I don't know if Vinicius could fulfill that role against Arsenal. So then you wonder, okay, let's put our shoes in like Chelsea.
That's exactly what I was going to tell you. They have Tammy Abraham, Olivier Giroud, and
Timo Werner.
Timo Werner. And it's like,
yeah, and so
why do we not have
selections?
Why do we not have options like that, And like
right.
I look at Giroud, like I'm a big fan of Giroud because he's one of those players that no matter what, if he's starting, if he's not, he's going to he's going to get in there, and
he is a finisher. He's not fast. He's all up here. He's all up here, and he puts himself in the right position. That's why he's so good.
Yep.
But no, I mean, don't get me wrong. In the past, maybe he was a bit quicker, but I mean, he's like 34 years old.
No, but that's my point. Is like, why do we not have? We don't have a backup plan. If I feel like not necessarily Tuchel at Chelsea, but just Chelsea in general with the squad they have. If this doesn't work, if Plan A doesn't work, they can pivot to Plan B. And
Correct.
if Plan B doesn't work, they can pivot to Plan C with the different people they have in their inventory. And it's like, for us, it's if Kane doesn't work out one game, it's game over. If Kane and don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say we shouldn't rely on our top players. That's I think I don't know if it was Paul Merson who said it the other day. I'm not sure who said it. I'm not going to say any names because I don't want to misquote someone. But one of the pundits said, Kane or Spurs rely too much on Kane, Son, and Bale. It's like, wait, Spurs rely on their attacking players? No way. Like, obviously, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's kind of a dumb thing to say, but in a way, we have to be flexible in our play. We are a team that is black and white. We go this way with this lineup with relying on him and him. And if that doesn't work out, we have no plan B. We're not able to pivot and change our train of thought and change the way we attack, change the way we play. The most recent example I can think of Spurs doing that was when Kane got hurt and the year we went to the Champions League final and we had Llorente and we're like, and Poch kind of said, all right, we're going to play a different style now with the hold up man, right? The target man. And it ended up working out. But does that make sense at all?
No, it 100% makes sense. And it's frustrating because as a supporter, as much as you want to do to help your side win, you wonder why the outcome was the way it was. You wonder, you have questions. You want to ask Jose, what went wrong here? Like, why don't you have a plan B? And say he did have a plan B, what was his plan C? And I think you said it very well. And I know so many people are thinking the same thing. But I think the positive from it is it's showing to the higher authority of the club, like Daniel Levy, listen, we're going to have to get we're going to have to get a striker or some players.
Because do you really think that's going to change anything? Because this is not like a recent issue. You know what I mean?
I think it will change it because of where we finish. I think it's going to depend a lot on where we finish in the Prem and
in our tournaments.
The way I look at it is if we finish in, 6th or 7th in the Prem this year, how or why would we finish better in the next year?
Right.
Like maybe people could say, well, signings. Okay. We had 7 signings last summer. I'm about to say semester. Last summer. And look where we are now. We're 4 points better than what we were last season.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean,
so I don't want to blame anybody, but we all might be thinking the same thing. And I think that's just a fair way to analyze it, go off of just where you placed in the past. And it's tough, don't get me wrong, when having a manager come in the mid-season. I mean, yes, 8 games, but that's not really mid-season. Anyways,
it was mid-season because like of the poor place that we were in, like such a deep hole, I guess you could say. That's what I think of it as. But even more so than that, I think, I struggle to think, okay, well, what went wrong, yesterday? Why did we see this, And you got people saying, well, it's Jose out, it was the players didn't want to play. We didn't finish. We didn't defend well, here, this and that. But in all reality, you're tackling a couple issues. I think fatigue is a huge issue, which means squad depth. And it's squad depth, not just saying we have X amount of players, we have 20 players. It has to be quality subs. We need quality depth where we can interchange 2 players and it's not going to drop the way we play or affect our style of play and the level of our team dramatically. I feel like right now when we sub in, when we have to, Sissoko played decent, but when we sub in Sissoko, it's like that is not even close to being what Tanguy does at that spot, and then it's immediately we're even more defensive. And I'm not saying that was the wrong sub. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know if I agree with it. Then we sub off Bale in like before the 60th minute, and it's like, okay, well, what are we doing there? And then the players we're subbing in aren't equivalent to the talent that we have, and we got to have some more depth, right? So that's issue number 1 for me. Now, issue number 2 is it doesn't look like some players are playing for the club, playing for the badge, like Lucas and Lamela do. You know what I mean? Is that fair to say, you think?
I don't know. I think after I think from watching them, we might get a false. I don't know. I can't find the word for it, but I know what you're talking about. It's almost like you think, okay, do they even want to play here?
Right. It's like you don't see. So my comparison.
The energy's not there. The intensity's not there.
Yeah.
Your mindset's not there. It just looks like they don't want to be out there.
And what is that? How do you fix that? You know what I mean? Is that a systemic thing?
I think that's when the manager steps in or the coach.
Yeah. But the issue is, in Jose's defense, and I'm not necessarily Jose in or out still.
Yeah.
But in Jose's defense, we have had good efforts, good performances in the past 3 games. So it's like, it's not like he's telling them, hey guys, this game, take it easy. Don't go out there. You know what I mean? That's not happening. So is that something in the players, or is really the culprit here fatigue all around? I don't know.
See, I think fatigue is I think it's, I don't know. I don't want to say it's unfair to say fatigue because we've been playing like this for the last 2 weeks.
Right. And it's not going to change. Next year we're going to have.
And I'm not going to say fatigue was a cause. It may obviously make an impact, but go ahead. Finish what you're saying.
No, go ahead. You kind of cut out, so I lost you for a second.
No, but going back to my point about, we're sitting in 8th right now, right? 7th. Forget what we're sitting in.
8th, yeah.
And we have 45 points. We have 5 points better than what we did last season. At this point, right, I pulled it up. At this point right now, we had 40 points. And 11 wins with 10 losses. 10 losses. And 7 draws. Oh, my God, it's so bad. Anyways, this is one thing I'm going to say. In a manager, you want consistency, right?
Yeah.
Leicester's in 3rd right now in the Prem. And they're, after 28 games last season, they're in 3rd with 50 points. I don't know how many points they have now, but they're pretty close to having 50 points. Or I think they might have more.
Yeah, they definitely have more.
So Chelsea's in 4th, City's in 2nd, and then first is Liverpool. Liverpool's kind of out of this pick because they're far behind. But my point being is you have – and then United's in 5th. Put United 5th at 42 points. They obviously have more points than that. They have a lot more points than that than they did last season. You wonder, how can 5 clubs I just name off finish where they were last season or around where they were, and then you have clubs like us who are good on paper and good in – we're good. And we're sitting 5 points behind with better players than we got last year. What's the issue?
Yeah, okay, there's a couple of things. You look at it, okay, who are our most key signings, right? We count Joe Hart as one of the 7 signings. Okay, that doesn't really count. Bale, that's a big one. Joe Rodon, we haven't seen him. He's been iced out since his mistake at Liverpool. Doherty obviously has not lived up to anything close to his expectations. Højbjerg is the only one where you really say, and Sergio, Højbjerg and Sergio are the only ones that you can say have really maybe bumped our team up, had an impact on our team in a positive way.
Yeah.
But, is that good enough? We make 7 signings and 2 players make an impact?
See, that's the thing. You have to. I just think it's disappointing, and there's something. There's got to be a place to put the fault somewhere.
Yeah, he was the culprit. I think, we talk about fatigue and we talk about this and we talk about that, but it's not gonna this is gonna change next year. You know what I mean?
Right? I don't. What would make you think it changed? Oh, say we signed this, and this, and Jose's there for a whole year. Really?
Yeah, I don't know. It's really tough. I mean, you look at this game, and we could talk about individual performances all we want, but I think that's kind of just shooting a dead horse or beating a dead horse because we played horrible. We all know that. One player looked good, and it was Lucas, I'd say.
And props to Lamela for a phenomenal goal.
Right. You could even say Lamela, but that's a point, right? You look at some of these players who Lucas and Lamela in particular are not going to be they're never going to be the Harry Kanes, the Suns, the Bales. They're never going to take the headlines. Very rarely, I'd say, but they are the ones that are always playing for the badge. They are always working their butt off. We talk about Lamela, whether it's the first minute or the 91st minute. He's going all in every tackle, working hard for the ball. And same with Lucas. I mean, Lucas, his work rate and what he can do with the ball when, no one else is showing up is really incredible. And it's a shame. It's a shame that the rest of the team, let him down. And that's kind of harsh, but I think that's true. But how do you get those players on the same page as him? The players that maybe offer more talent-wise or offer more skill-wise, but don't seem to have it. Is that back to fatigue? Like, you look at Tanguy, he's probably one of, if not the most talented technical player on our team. Would you agree?
Yeah.
But yet he's, weeks in, weeks out, he plays well, but he's not really doing anything special, I'd say.
I think that 6 or 8 position kind of takes his attacking capabilities kind of off.
I'd say it does, but at the same time, there's nothing to say he can't.
Well, you don't see him pinging a ball 40 yards to something.
And why not?
You
kind of cut out there a sec. What'd you say?
Well, I said, you don't see Tanguy pinging a ball 40 yards, 50 yards, which would be great. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But I feel like his style is more of just the closer creative passes.
It is, yes. But at the same time, I don't know. And Tanguy is just an example, you got players like Bale who it took him a while to come in. And Jose said, he has got the psychological scars, which Bale's maybe a separate story. But a player like Kane yesterday, where'd he go?
Yeah.
Where'd he go? And I'm not trying to hate on Kane. Obviously, we'll forever be in debt to him and as fans and as supporters of this club. But it doesn't mean that, we can't ask that question, right? Where'd he go?
Fair.
Where did he go?
It's just like Juventus fans asking where was Ronaldo in Champions League.
Yeah.
And so
except he turns around and scores a hat trick.
Kane should, right?
Is Kane going to do that?
But I'm not comparing obviously Ronaldo and Kane.
No, I know.
I remember in the documentary, Kane was talking about how he wants to be, up towards, the Ronaldo level and the Messi level. And obviously it's hard to get like that and get there. Don't get me wrong. I think Kane can definitely accomplish a lot in the next, 6 prime year he's got left in him. And so even more maybe. And so I don't know. I wish, I don't know if he's just kind of let down because of his teammates are not being able to, after Son getting subbed off with his injury. I don't know if he just kind of just was like, oh, I might have to take control up here. I don't know. I don't know what he's feeling. Who knows?
And if that's the case though, it's got to be the complete opposite reaction. It's got to be, all right, now I can take control of this. Right. This is mine, And
I'd be very surprised if he ever went like that route.
Yeah, it's hard, and obviously we can't put thoughts or words into these players' heads. We're just kind of chatting about, issues and things like that, which I'm sure a lot of these Spurs players are talking about. I think after a loss like this, we call it our Spurs therapy session, where we can just kind of chat it out. What are we doing? What's going wrong? Which these are my favorite episodes, honestly, which is it's weird because we lost, obviously, and it's like, just ruins your day. I had a great weekend up until then, and I was like,
it was also a 12:30 game, and I was like, oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, it was a nice little sleep in for us.
Ugh.
But it's a shame. It's a shame, and they let us down. But I don't know. Are there any more issues that are popping out to you that we haven't really hit on yet? I don't even know if we need to rate players in this episode. I kind of am okay with just
I'm
chatting
okay
this
with doing
out.
that too. I think a lot of it's going to determine too on the next if we can just finish off the Dynamo leg, uh, be comfortable with that win, move on, and then uh, see what we draw from there. But it's getting down to the wire. Having only 10 games left. I mean, yes, I know we're in Carabao Cup final, but woohoo!
Seriously,
And
yeah, I'm so
really,
done with that.
really, it's like okay, I won Community Shield, sweet, and so I don't. It's a trophy. Don't get me wrong, but we
Yeah,
won the
yeah, yeah. And beggars can't be choosers, right?
huh?
And beggars can't be choosers, right? But at the same time, it's like, am I really, dying on the hill of we won the Carabao Cup? That's not. My expectations are much higher for this club.
Oh, absolutely, and so is everyone else's.
Yeah,
When it'd be nice to be Carabao Cup and Europa League. Oh, okay, now we're talking.
yeah,
But yes, it's a trophy. I get that, and it'd be nice to win it. Of course, don't get me wrong. I'd like to win any trophy, but with the expectations that this club brings to this notion of we're a top European club, and I mean we've shown it, and we went to the Champions League final, and
yeah.
I just don't think there's any sort of lower expectations than that.
Right.
And so finishing as we all are disappointed finishing right now, or not finishing, but in upwards to the top half of the table and not being in top four for the first time in heck, I don't know. I know we've always finished in a league or Europa League or Champions League the last 10 years, 11 years. And it's kind of shocking for us to be in the position we are now. And so again, I
Yeah,
don't want
I never thought about that. You think about it as a
yeah.
fan, especially us who we're relatively young. When we started watching Spurs, we were starting just at the beginning of that, maybe a year or two before that. But now it's like, it's a given. We're going to be in Europe. It's whether it's Europa, okay, or Champions League. And we were spoiled the last like 4 years when it was Champions League, and now we've kind of been humbled by Europa League. But if we get into a consistent effort of 2 years in a row of Europa League, Matt, that is horrible. That is horrible for the club. That is horrible for the players, the fans. Like, it's gonna be an uproar. And when you actually think about it, we are in a devastatingly horrible spot right now in the season. And we keep saying there's plenty of games left. There's plenty of games left, but 3 weeks down the line, we're not gonna be able to say that anymore. There's not
You're
enough
right.
games left. We got to take advantage of it
It's
now.
coming out of the wire. And I don't know, but I'm assuming all the players on Tottenham are like, oh my gosh, guys, let's just try to finish off this, Dynamo game, see who we play next. They probably, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm confident as a supporter, but as a player, I'd be decently confident in yourselves for Europa League right now. The competition's very weak.
I don't know if
Yes.
I'd say that. I wouldn't say that. You can't say that.
Okay, put it this way. On paper, if we look at everyone who's in the Europa League right now, I still think we are the best team.
I agree. I don't know. I actually don't. I don't agree because we're so inconsistent. You can't call us the best team. We just got demolished by Arsenal. We demolished, and maybe not by the scoreline, but in the way we played.
After that performance, I guess we aren't the best team.
You can say PK this, penalty that. Wasn't a pen, was a pen. Doesn't matter. We did not deserve to win that game. And I'll be the first to admit that. But you look at Europa League. Guess what? That's one of the teams we might have to play again.
Yeah, it is.
And I'm not saying that we can't beat them because we obviously can. We know we can. But when you also tag on either Milan or United into that, it really does start to get a little more real. I think. We've gotten lucky with their draws, and I'm not going to say it's luck. And if we get to the final or we win it, we don't deserve it because of the teams we played. That's just how it works. If we can get there through some lucky games, that's fine. But
Part of it,
here, we're going to have to start.
Champions League, even though we didn't have any lucky games, I think we played everyone hard.
Yeah, we played Dortmund, City, Ajax, and then
To be
Liverpool.
fair though, I liked picking up Ajax over Liverpool, Barcelona. But anyways,
Yeah.
but maybe I
Speaking of
should
Ajax, we
restate
could
what I
play
said.
Ajax
Maybe I should
again,
restate what I said.
huh?
Maybe I should restate what I said. And before looking at the Arsenal game this past weekend, on paper in Europa League, I thought we were one of the best teams or the best team.
We still are one of the best teams, but the issue is like, I don't know. As a fan, I'm not confident in our team right now, and I'm in like a depression of our side. It's like a feeling of just like anxiety when I watch us, because it's like, are we gonna do this, or can we do this? We win here, we lose here.
Yeah.
So we got to fix it. And as we close the episode, is there anything that you can put your finger on? How do we fix this type of thing, or how do we go forward?
I think a lot of it just depends on where we finish in the future, in the near future. It's gonna these last 10 games in Prem, Europa League, Carabao Cup is really going to define Jose and whether he's going to be here next season. We all know his job's probably on thin ice right now. Confirming him being the manager for next season.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know necessarily what the actual like pinpoint issue is. I don't think it's fair to really find one, as I think there's many small problems, and every team has them. But I just want to leave you with this. And for those people who support Jose, like I said, we are in 7th place. Shoot, are we in 7th place? 8th? Okay. We're in 8th with 45 points. And last season at the same spot, it's 28 games played. We were in 7th with 40 points. So we have 5 points better. And I don't know. It's your opinion if you think that's good. If you don't, my opinion, I think it's pretty horrible for the signings that we've had this past season. And every team has gotten better. And we kind of have not, it looks like. And so, I might tweet it out actually sometime before our next Dynamo game. Just throw it out there, see if people want to chat about it. But I don't want to say Jose's the issue or anything like that, because there's definitely times where he has come in clutch and won many pretty important games. But if you're going to evaluate a team and a manager, I mean, there's no reason not to put us up against a Chelsea or a Leicester, and look how they're performing and look how we're performing, and look at the commonalities with that. So
it's a great ending point. It's a great point. I'm not going to say anything more to that. I mean,
right. And so with that,
yeah, we'll end with that. And we don't want to think we're being drab and anything, but it's a tough time right now for Spurs. I think if you, I think we take for granted, oh, we're going to get into Europe. Oh, we're going to do this, but you never know. It could not happen. And there's very real possibility of that. So thanks for listening, guys. Be sure to check us out on Instagram and Twitter at _Tottenham_talk. And as always, come on, you Spurs.